Welcome back to the channel, my friends. It is raining, but that will not stop us from planting garlic in today's episode. This is a Garden With Us episode, so if you have some garlic to plant in your garden, grab it and get to planting. If you don't, maybe there's some chores you can pop this on, but we're just gonna sit back, relax in the rain, and discuss planting garlic for this season. So what do we have in front of us, Jacques?
A whole lot of garlic.
Yes.
We have definitely some more to actually break down, but we have some that we already broke down.
Yes.
And this rain is wonderful. I've never planted in the rain.
I have not planted in the rain. I've done a lot of other things in the rain, but it is so pleasant to just sit in the rain, my friends, because we barely ever get this. That smell, what's it called? Petrichor. Petrichor coming out. Okay, let's talk garlic. We've done a lot of garlic episodes here. Every year we learn a little bit more with our garlic planting. Last year, we sort of cracked the code of hardneck garlic in a warm climate like ours here in San Diego. It's just kind of a difficult crop to grow, but we figured it out. What did we end up doing? You put it in the fridge for a couple months, and then you go ahead and plant it in November, and you let that season play out.
Right, so that's the vernalization process.
Exactly.
And quick warning, don't vernalize in the freezer. That doesn't work. That'll crack your cloves, break it, kill it.
Yes.
So fridge.
Yeah, fridge, not freezer. It's just going to literally explode the cell walls, and it will kill the plant, quite frankly. Step number one, when you are planting out garlic, what you really need to know is what type of garlic you're going for. So we have a mixture of soft neck and hard neck garlic. Right. Why don't you show off this guy here?
Technically, not really garlic, right?
This one is technically more of a leek.
This is our elephant garlic. It's these giant heads that you probably know about.
Yeah.
And it's technically a leek, but it does have a hard neck. So we're gonna pretend like it's a hard neck garlic.
Yeah. In effect, you grow it exactly as you would grow garlic. It's honestly way rainier than I thought it would be right now. We're gonna keep on going. Pretty hard. We're gonna keep on going, guys. Why don't I get a hat? Why don't I swap my hat out real quick? Ian, give me that hat.
A little bit of ice in that rain, I think.
There we go.
It hit me on the side there.
Alrighty.
It's kind of refreshing.
We're back on. Okay, so the first thing you need to know, are you gonna grow a soft or a hard neck? Now, if you're in a cold climate, go ahead and grow both. It'll work perfectly fine. If you're in a warm climate like ours, you may want to trend towards the soft neck garlic.
Yeah.
So, what are you gonna do, Jacques?
We're gonna get the cloves out and start. I like to remove the outer papers first.
Yeah.
Because it reduces the chance of breaking it as you're peeling.
Unfortunately, in the rain, it's gonna be hard to remove the papers. But
we'll do it for you guys.
I've got actually one of the more classic soft necks here. This is Inchellium Red.
It's actually one of my favorites.
It is an amazing garlic, and this is an extremely big clove, I have to say. I swear to you guys, it was not raining not but 5 minutes ago, and the forecast was sunny, so.
The chance of rain in San Diego this time of year is essentially zero.
Near zero. So what you're doing is you're basically popping from the bulb to the clove. And as you can see, Jacques has done that, sort of pre-done that with a lot of these garlic right here. And if you are wondering, hey, I want to know where to get garlic, but I don't have a reliable source, well, at least until we sell out, we have about 100 or
couple hundred pounds.
Yeah, we have a couple hundred more pounds on the store that you can grab from us.
It's from Peaceful Valley, great supplier.
A couple amazing varieties that I think you'll really enjoy. So head on over and grab some if you haven't already. But we're just popping cloves.
Yeah, and when I pop cloves, there's like a few things I'm looking for.
Yeah.
First thing I'm looking for is little bits of damage.
Yes.
So generally it shows up as little spots. Those tend to not be like that bad. They could be like a scab kind of thing. But then if you have like fungus or mold, definitely discard that, because you're putting something in the ground. If you get that disease in the ground, it's gonna be there for a long time.
Especially if it's a fungal disease, like there's a chance it could create some sort of network and kind of run through the soil, and you really don't want that.
And so it will just target garlic, but we like garlic, so we like garlic.
Sure and we are gonna be monocropping basically in the back bed over there pretty soon. And so, yeah, why put something in the ground that you know is diseased? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, when you're popping cloves also, you're sort of filtering out cloves that are not going to be as productive and cloves that are going to be very productive. So take a look at this Inchellium Red bulb that has now been fully popped out. I have some really beautiful cloves right here that I think are going to be very productive, but this one here is a little bit of a weak boy. It's a little bit of a small boy. So
it's coming down a little hard.
So, you know.
Yeah, so we're actually saving all the small ones here. Because you can cook with them, but of course nobody likes peeling the tiny cloves of garlic to cook with. The better use case is to plant them really tight together and just get green garlic. And actually, this was a bulb that we left in the ground And when I was flattening the ground, I just yanked it, and that's basically what happens.
So this is how you get the most in the garden, guys. You buy a bulb like this, you pop it, you use the biggest cloves to actually grow more bulbs for the future, and then all the small boys, instead of just discarding them in some fashion, you can plant them in little planter boxes on a windowsill or in a little raised bed, and you actually get what's called green garlic, like Jacques said. You can use it much like you would a green onion, but I have to say, I do prefer it.
Way better. It's
that
so tasty.
smell just hits so different, and it's really almost exactly what the name says, green garlic. It has that sort of vegetal taste, but that garlic spice
that comes in. It's like a little sweeter, and you could use the whole thing. So you're not just using the bottom of a bulb, you're using,
I can't tell if it's hitting different because I'm in the rain and I'm overjoyed, or just I love that smell.
It honestly, it does smell good. It does smell good.
Let's pop a couple more cloves, but we've done a decent amount of this work already.
Yeah.
So what we'll do next is meet you on over back in the garlic patch and discuss different planting techniques that might work for you.
What happens when it rains in San Diego? You just keep going.
Alrighty, we are back here in the bed. This is the same bed we planted garlic in last year with a couple different tweaks. First of all, it's longer, and I have to say the bed looks a lot better.
Looks really clean right now.
It's really well prepped. Obviously the rain helped out a lot there. So what did we learn from last year, Jacques, that we're gonna improve on this year for garlic?
One of the big ones is our labeling. So this year we have 2 labels for each variety. Last time everything just kind of fell out and we didn't really keep track of it. Still ate everything, but at least this year we'll have better accounting.
Yeah.
And then I think, like you said, the bed prep's a little better. We have good compost this year.
Yeah.
It was aerated and broad forked, so we should be in a good position for the garlic.
I think so. And then Jacques has invented this little tool. He broke the handle off of, what was it, a shovel?
It was like a digging fork.
Yeah, and so what he did is he clear cut that off with like a chop saw, and then you use like a rasp, right? Yep. And then he burnt this to help preserve it. And then in your garden, in Jacques' garden over on his channel, he just boom, come in and dib, and just get a nice depth. So what did you learn for your year in as far as depth goes?
So what I like to do is I actually burn this to 4 inches. So the idea is that once I get to that point, oops, a little too deep there. But once I get to there, that's about 4 inches. So that's a pretty good planting depth. Yeah. So I like to do about 4 to 6 inches deep and about 6 inches apart. Yes,
that's roughly what I did. I would say, here's a couple of rules of thumb to modulate this to your own climate. If you're in a colder climate than ours, like maybe a zone 6 or a 5, you may want to go a little deeper than that, maybe 4 inches and then mulch on top, or maybe just go deeper in general, like 6 inches deep, and maybe a couple inches of mulch, especially if you're planting in the fall. For us, I tend to go about 4 inches. Now, if you're doing hardneck, I also think maybe going slightly deeper might make some sense because you get a little bit more cold temps and stabilization down there instead of this hot-cold fluctuation. But what are you gonna go in with? I've got Transylvanian garlic, in keeping with the time of year, it's October. So we're gonna be doing some Transylvanian, which I've never grown.
All right, so that's a soft neck. So I was thinking we should try to keep the hard necks together. That's another thing. Last year we kind of mixed everything up. Yeah. And it's a lot easier to collect those scapes if all those hard necks are in one spot instead of like scattered around.
I totally agree. Yeah, that would be a reason, by the way, guys, to grow the hard necks is you get what are called garlic scapes, which is only a feature on hardneck garlic. Yeah, and it is honestly one of the more delicacy-esque things you can grow in a garden. If you were to go deliver those to a chef, they would pay you a pretty penny for them. It's basically the flowering stalk of the hardneck. It starts to come out and it'll do this little curlicue. So it'll loop over once. That's how you know it's ready to harvest. Great for sauteing. Amazing, amazing little thing to be able to grow in the garden. So you go in.
I'll go towards you a little bit,
and
then I'll start working away from you.
Okay, sounds
Looks
good.
like the ground is wet enough that the holes are holding.
This is actually perfect. This is actually perfect.
Here, do you want to get those couple?
Yeah, I'll get these. So as far as spacing, again, 6 inches is recommended. You can go tighter, but you'll just generally find that your bulb performance is not going to be as strong. But you know, it's always a trade-off, guys, of size and space. So if you're in a smaller space than this, then there's nothing wrong with going a little bit tighter or planting them in a container or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you kind of just need to balance it with more watering, perhaps.
So I'm going to do Transylvanian in like a block, perhaps.
Oh, okay.
Instead of going down this way. What do you think? Like maybe a block like this?
Oh, I see. Instead of like going straight down the line? Yeah.
We could do it that way, or we could do it, because if we do it down the line, we only have 5 lines to play with, or we could go like 5 and 5, right? Like go halfway down. Okay. Why don't we do that?
All right.
You think that makes sense? Halfway down and then switch and then halfway.
I'm gonna just keep dibbing.
So I'll go down this line here.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I've learned is that when you're dibbing into dry ground really sucks.
It's not fun at all.
Because for two reasons. It's harder. And then the second thing is that as soon as you pull that dibber out, all the soil just caves back in.
Yeah.
So this is really nice. I did mine in dry soil and it was not fun.
Well, this is where the bed prep really comes into play. So this was our tomato bed this season, also a couple peppers and alyssum and stuff like that. But what we did is, contrary to popular advice, we actually did rip some of the roots out. This is not full no dig. I would say it's about 80% no dig. Because, why? Well, I'm gonna be planting a sensitive root crop that really doesn't like to be crowded out in here, AKA this garlic. Why would I leave a bunch of knotted tomato roots in there? That's just my opinion. I do believe that it's the smarter approach, but hey, I'm not gonna argue with folks who have grown extremely quality garlic or other plants without doing that.
Yeah, I'll say I opted to not remove mine.
Yeah.
Except I had peppers, and it's true, it was harder to dib, especially because those roots, as soon as you hit them, you can't really dib.
I just get worried about planting, like I know this whole back row was very deep rooted tomatoes. And so I sort of am like, look, if I know that, how much damage am I really truly causing? Like, let's get real.
Yeah, that's true.
To the soil by taking just the root ball out. I'm not removing every single root, just the root ball.
Like you're not sifting it.
I'm not sifting it and just rearranging it completely. Okay, so where should I stop? You think I'm about halfway down? I got a little bit more.
I guess we're about halfway.
I'll go to here.
If we go in lines, it'll be really easy to bookend the labels.
Yes. So do you have the Transylvanian labels on you?
All the labels are in a stack somewhere over there.
So I'm gonna put a mark right there. Okay, Transylvanian. Have you grown this?
I have not. That's a new variety to me. The only one, I've never grown music either, with one of the hardnecks we have.
Yeah.
That's what I'm really excited for because it's like a classic, famous hardneck garlic type.
Very famous, yeah.
That all the small farms seem to love growing because it's apparently delicious. So I'm excited for that.
There you go. Georgian Fire.
Nice.
This is...
So hardneck, I think?
Hardneck, right?
I believe so.
Wow, what an incredible looking clove. Have you really taken a look at these cloves?
No, I haven't.
I don't know, they're very they're very dense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're sort of dense and I don't know, they're very smooth.
There seems to be a lot of garlic varieties from Georgia.
Yeah. How interesting. Russian red, soft or hard?
That's a hardneck.
Okay, we're gonna skip that. Music is soft, right?
Incellum is soft.
Let's do Inchellium then. It probably doesn't need to be repeated, but, oh, it's starting to rain again, Jacques. But you wanna put your garlic in the ground, pointy side up. Now, is it the absolute end of the world if you don't? No, but you're just making the garlic do work that neither you or it would prefer it had to do. It's just, that's where the growing tip is gonna come out. That's where you should plant it.
I like doing the soak beforehand.
Yes.
You're not convinced, and I can understand why. Yeah,
so why don't you explain what the soak is for folks who have not been introduced?
Yeah, there's basically two soaks that I've seen people recommend before. The first is you soak in alcohol, and that one I buy more. The idea behind that is that you're essentially sanitizing the cloves. So you're making sure that you're not transferring any bacterial or fungal diseases if the alcohol kills them.
Yes.
So that's the first one, and that's like a short 10-minute soak. The other one is a fertilizer soak. This is one that I think you have more trouble with.
I'm a little more skeptical on this, yes.
And the idea behind it is that you mix up some organic fertilizer and you soak your cloves in that for a period of time, and it gets on the wrappers and it gives it a little bit of an extra boost at the start.
Yeah, I've seen this recommended a lot. I don't have anything in particular against it, but I'm sort of in a phase at the scale of this garden here in my backyard. I'm kind of looking for easier methods rather than more complicated methods. And in my opinion, at least, I'm just not sure if that's gonna offer me enough benefit to justify doing it. And so I guess we'll just have to see. I know that last year, Jacques, I had my best year of garlic yet.
Yeah.
And I did not soak.
No.
But what I did do is I did do a very heavy vernalization period, which, that's also kind of a hassle. So, everyone has their own trade-offs with how they grow.
The soaking probably will double or triple the time you wait.
Yeah.
So I totally get it.
I mean, it's all this to say, there's clearly more than a single way to grow every plant that we talk about.
And sometimes it's easy to get a little lost in the sauce of getting complicated, right?
Yes.
And you can just literally pop this in the ground anywhere in your garden and it'll probably grow just fine.
And forget about it, yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely something to remember, guys. Is we did do this for tens of thousands of years, so we don't need to get super complicated about it.
So actually, you brought up something interesting there when you said that we've been doing this for like thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
Is that garlic is actually fascinating because it's technically a transplant.
Yes.
We're not actually starting a seed. We're not like sowing a seed. We're transplanting a tissue of the plant. So technically, like if you think about it, every single garlic that we plant has been curated, collected. Some human in the past saved that, propagated it. And now thousands of years later, we're still propagating that garlic.
Yeah,
it's just a fun thing to think about.
It's actually a very good point. I mean, very, very few growers are ever going to be growing a garlic from a true seed, because garlic is in the allium family, meaning it is a biennial grower.
Right. So if you're breeding, you might want to do that, but
if you're breeding, you might do it, or you may just start selecting cloves.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
For different adaptations. They said something like about 3 or 4 seasons, and what you select in your own garden will start to slowly adapt.
I have heard that.
To your own garden. So if you are a committed garlic grower, like we are, I mean, I have cloves that are sitting in the kitchen right now that I may decide to select and plant out as well.
Yeah, maybe we put those in like a container somewhere and keep that line going.
Yeah, could definitely do that. Okay, so I'll do music here.
And the other beauty I'll say here is that these emitter spacings are at 6 inches, which is making this really easy for me because I'm just going to an emitter. That's going to guarantee the garlic gets its water. And you've seen it before. I mean, garlic roots, they're not really that robust.
No, they're not. They're not. But what I will say about them is you get a weird association to earthworms with allium roots, we've noticed.
That's true.
I think it's something about maybe the sugars at the root area, the rhizosphere it's called. It seems like it may be higher than other plants because I've noticed way more worms in that area than I have, let's say, on my kale or my tomato roots. So just something kind of interesting. I don't know if there's much weight to that, but an observation in the garden for sure.
Looks like I hit something hard there.
The size of your dibber is perfect for this. It really is.
It's nice because if you use like a really skinny dibber, you can't get those fat cloves in.
Yeah. The encheliums would not have gone down.
No.
Let's do that. Oh, look who came to say hi. Bobby. I'm like using her to brush my hands off dirt. You don't know what I'm doing. You're my napkin. We have 250 cloves of garlic in the ground, soft neck, hard neck, all sorts of cool varieties. If you want to know exactly how to take it from this stage all the way through to a final harvest, check out our 3-part series here on the channel. And until next time, good luck in the garden and keep on growing.